where the healing must begin. So go ahead and just lay out a couple of the more troubling things that you are dealing with right now, like basically your top three pains. Give it to me. Give it to me straight.
Uh, Number one is the uh, base of my thumb joint on my right hand.
That's right. From playing a drum, from playing the drums. I got a pretty quick. I'm hoping I have a really quick fix for that. Um,
Not half as much as I'm
one
hoping you've got one.
Yeah, one of the 2 areas that we're gonna hit, and it may actually be an entire length, an entire anatomy train in order to fully get rid of it, but I have dealt with the exact same pain that you have for a very long period of time because I broke my thumb when I was playing basketball, when I was, I wanna say 17 years old, um, and as a result of not healing that when I was young, because I went straight, I had my homecoming football game the following week, and I was like, hell no, I'm not putting myself in a cast. I am just going to tape it. I didn't tell my coaches. I didn't tell any of my friends. Didn't tell my mom, my dad, nobody. And I want to say it was maybe about 45 minutes before the game. I came up to our trainer, Frida, a very nice lady. She's probably in like her early 30s. And I just showed her my hand and I was like, broke my thumb probably like 3, 4 days ago. And I'm telling you right now that I'm not playing. So whatever you can do to stabilize this thing from not breaking anymore, I would truly appreciate it. So she just looked at it and she's like, oh my gosh. And she did like this, little tape job, like hook and loop tape job, whatever. So we're it's probably 42 degrees out and raining at kickoff, and I'm the person who is receiving the kickoff, and I make the classic mistake of catching the ball. It was a return left, and I was running. I knew I was going to be running out of bounds because everything was collapsing, and I did not transfer the ball from my right hand to my left. And what ended up happening that first play, this kid, as I'm running out of bounds, puts his helmet right on my hand and the ball. And like I just ran out of bounds, but I was seeing stars from that very first one. And it was just all around a bad idea. But I was, the tough guy at the time and I wanted to play. And that's the decision that I made. But what ended up happening throughout the rest of my life and my career doing massage and whatnot was my thumb always bothered me. And I ended up unpacking where the problem was coming from. So we're gonna unpack that today for you, and that's going to be one of your protocol moving forward. And while it does take some time, it's very effective right off from the start. It'll reduce your pain. Like if you do have to go play drums or something like that, it could reduce your pain while you're drumming by up to 70% right at the beginning. So go ahead. Thumb.
Yep. Next one would be the sort of subscapular area of my sort of shoulder blade on the right hand side.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
All related. Go ahead.
uh, and that's really those are my two kind of if I had neither of those at the moment, I'd probably feel like I was in a reasonably good place. I've got a minor bit of tennis elbow, um, also on the right hand side, um, but not massively impacting in any meaningful way. And I know we've emailed in the past regarding my back, and I took your advice, and I found somebody with some good experience in that area, and she sorted out my back pretty effectively. I now have almost no trouble at all with my back. Um, so I'd say really it's I can't think of anything beyond the sort of hand injury and the shoulder injury, which are the ones that are giving me any real grief.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this screen up real quick. So you can see what I'm talking about. Mm-mm-mm. I gotta find the diagram, and then I will share my screen real quick with you, and I'm gonna show you how everybody, maybe this guy, everybody wants to. I'm gonna. Everybody wants to scream, "The body's connected. The body's connected. The body's connected." And I am actually one of those screamers. Okay, but where people get caught is in the dogma or drinking the Kool-Aid portion. It's like, I've worked with people that have had back pain or shoulder pain or had neck pain or something like that, and they've gone to healers before they've come to see me, and they'll go to people and they'll be like, this is all spiritual. It has to do with your mother. And when you finally heal the mother within you, all of your pains will go away. And while that may be true to them, you have to meet people exactly where they're at. And I'm the guy where I have one foot in the world and one foot out. And the longer that people work with me, I start to drag them closer and closer to being balanced in that respect as well, where they realize that, yes, they are a bag full of meat and water and, bones, but at the same time too, we are spiritual beings as well, having a physical experience. So to completely deny that, it doesn't make any sense. So I say that to say this: when we look at the body, yes, it is connected, everything from head to toe, core to cuff, by fascia surrounding our cells, getting deep into also even the nucleus of the cell, penetrating bone. I mean, everything. Okay. But through repetitive movement, we will create lines of excessive tension in the body. So when people go to, a quote unquote fascial specialist, and I don't know what they're doing, but they're just trying to kind of like create this seemingly open interface to the body, it doesn't exist. Because if I sit there, it's funny, and I don't even know if it's real or AI, but I came across a post on Instagram, and this kid was like, day 186 of only training my left trap. And you see he has this massive left trap, and he's just sitting there with a dumbbell, shrugging his left trap. The rest of his body is super skinny. He has no muscle whatsoever except this massive left trap. And you're looking at it, and you can sit there and say like, yeah, okay, the body is connected, but you can't deny the overuse of one repetitive pattern, hence drumming, right? There are a lot of females that I work with that have just seemingly infinite and never ending head, neck, and shoulder pain, but they're hairdressers. So what are they doing all day? They're like this all day, blow drying, brushing, everything like that, coloring the hair like this all day. Okay, and then what ends up happening? Shoulders, maybe even pec minor. You're looking at all the trap and the scalene muscles. Everything is tense, holding 1 pound or less objects every single day. And you do that for 2, 3, 5 years. What ends up happening? We get overuse patterns, we get pain. So the same thing with you, those drumsticks, couple ounces, right? But when we're sitting there going like this day after day after day after day for years, what ends up happening? We start to get pain due to the stress of the repetitive patterns. So here we are. Oh, wait a minute. Not that one. Yeah, that one. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. You see this guy right here? Do you see it, Alan?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So here is your repetitive pattern. Okay. And we're going to go deeper too. But when I blow this, let me see if I can blow it up even a little bit more. All right. So we have our levator scapula right here. And then we have our rhomboid supraspinatus, infraspinatus, going into the tricep all the way down to the elbow. Okay. And then this tendon right here is going to attach to the outside of the hand. All right. And then on this side, we have the trap, okay, going into the fascia of the deltoid, coming down through the tendon of that deltoid, then being connected to the flexors and or the extensors, I'm sorry, of the hand all the way down to the thumb. Okay, so right now, if I were to, be in a room full of fascia experts, it would be like, hang him, this is hearsay, like this is blasphemy. This can't be right. But Thomas Myers has done extensive research, and I think over something like 60 dissections of cadavers, and has shown that these connections exist, and they're undeniable. You can't refute them. One tendon, the tendon of the deltoid, continues down into the tendon of the extensors of the forearm. Okay, and there's nothing else that's connecting that to that. So if we have problems here and we're smashing this area with a lacrosse ball, or you have a massage therapist that's digging in there, digging in there, digging in there, and it feels better after your session, but then you wake up the next day, you go back to drumming 2, 3 days later, the pain is right back. Where are we going to look? We don't just go back to the forearm, we go into the deltoid. Okay, and we go into the deltoid, we can follow that fascial connection. This guy right here, combined with the tricep, that's a son of a bitch, dude. I'm telling you, you find there is going to be an area right around here, okay, and it's going to be between the bicep and the tricep. It is this fascial connection right here. Now, we got to remember that fascia has 100 times more nerve endings than our nerve and our central nervous system, than the nerves themselves. Okay. You're going to find probably something in here that's going to be a little knot, and it is going to send pain down into your forearm, and it's going to go directly down into the thumb. Now, how is this relevant to playing the drums? You're doing 10,000 tricep extensions the entire time, right? So this is what's missing. All right. And all of this musculature here, it's, you have to separate the body. You have to separate the body, but also know that it is connected from head to toe, core to cuff, all the way down into the nucleus of the cell. But you need to understand that patterns in the body can turn on and be tight and be completely separate from how the rest of the fascia is operating, but still connected. Okay, this is the dichotomy that is our nervous myofascial system right here. That the entire body is connected, but yes, there are still separated patterns that can tighten, causing your pain. And the way that we explain that or look at it is everything being tight here and having the shoulder raised, it will also pull on everything on this side of the body as well. It can create less left leg dysfunction, especially if you're lifting heavy things overhead, because the left leg is then the left glute, okay, the right side back, all the way up, and the arm. Everything on the left side lower body is going to be working harder to help generate more force and compensate for the tightness in the upper body. You see what I'm saying? So that could have
Yeah.
also led to what your back pain was all about as well. Okay, so I do this because I'm a teacher first. I've always been a teacher and a coach first. We need to understand the background behind what the body is doing and why it's doing it, based off of what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. And also, there's the emotional components to it. You had a very detailed write up. You know, some people who put like one or two words when they answer the questions, I don't even reply to them. It's the people who sit down and are like, okay, Chris knows his stuff. He must be asking this for a very specific reason. I'm going to sit down and put thoughtful answers. Those are the only people that I reply to. Okay. Because we need to know also that there are ethereal connections. There are connections to our relationship with our mom and our dad, our family members, the people that we love, very emotional or traumatic points in our life, things, near death experiences, things like that, where we need to know this. The body is going to keep the score and hold that pain until we're attentive and we say, it's time to release this stuff. Like, let's get going. So, do you have? You said you have a back buddy.
Now remind me what you mean by that.
The back buddy stick. Hold on a second. This, do you have this guy?
No, no.
Okay, no problem. You have a lacrosse ball.
Yeah, I've got various other spiky balls, the lacrosse type balls, rollers, all those sorts of bits and bobs, just not that sort of thing.
Okay, so we're gonna start with the lacrosse ball, and we're gonna go on. What I would like you to do moving forward is purchase one of the back buddies. I think this is 30. It's $3 worth of plastic, maybe even less than that, $2.60 worth of plastic, but it's 39.99 on Amazon. All right, and that is going to be your best bang for your buck to work on that upper neck and trap area, which I can guarantee you, if you weren't going to be doing any of this, it would, on that right side, it would start to pull and tug so hard at the bottom of your skull right here. You'd start getting tension headaches, all that stuff, and that's just not fun. It's not fun. Nobody likes it. So I would like you to purchase that, and then we can set up maybe just like a 15-minute consultation where I can take you through how to work it best in the trap, and then also in that levator scapula muscle as well. Because if that guy gets tight, it's curtains, man. That sucker is so painful. It'll put you out. You'll have to be, laying down. You'll be in bed for 45 minutes to up to 2 to 3 hours before it calms down. And these are the things that people say, hey, it's a tension headache or a migraine. They'll take some Excedrin with caffeine, whatever it is, maybe take something stronger. The pain goes away, and then they live to see another day. We get to the root of the problem. All right. So, what I want to start off with today is just a lacrosse ball, and we are going to get on the ground and we're going to get into that rhomboid, and we're going to start pulling apart a lot of the fun stuff that is in that in that scapular area and whatnot. Do you have your lacrosse ball?
Oh, right. Do you want me to? I won't be able to do it and be on camera at the same time, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. So what I'll do then is I will just take you through the explanation, and I'm going to do it with, so I'll go through everything, and you watch what you're supposed to do,
Okay,
and
great.
then, well, you can go ahead and do it after. So I'm going to raise this. So I show people the way that we start off. If I'm working on my right side trap, what I need to do, if I'm starting off on my right side trap, I put the big loop here and the small loop goes over here. All right. And then what I do is I just put that big loop around underneath my left leg. And from there, I'm going to lean forward and get the hook into my trap. And now, if I need to lean back in order to get some really, really deep pressure into that trap to release that tissue, that's what I'm doing. Okay. And I can work all up along the side of the neck, all the way up to my skull. and then all the way back down. And basically, I'm accelerating what I would normally do. Right now, you're working on this for 3 to 4 minutes, Alex, and you are pinning the tissue down. You feel something lumpy, something bumpy, something that's just not there, not supposed to be there. I'm sorry. You're looking at anything that's tight, tender, or sore. You want to
Hmm.
pin it down. The things that you can do is stretch away from it. And we do a wave pattern. So we stretch, we come back, we stretch, we come back. I'll
Yeah.
move and then pin that sucker down, stretch, come back. And we're doing this very lightly. And all we're trying to do is hit those sensors, those Golgi tendon organs, and then those muscle spindle fibers. And we're bringing attention to the fascia while we're pinning it down, creating that external pain, which is now becoming internal, right? And all we're doing is we're bringing awareness to that area. We're telling the brain, we're telling the nerves, the muscle, the fascia, everything in that area. We're saying, hey, we have a problem here. It's too tight. We need to expand. And by applying the pressure and then going into a stretch, you are helping the system recognize that that area is short and telling it that it needs to expand. By applying the pressure with the back buddy, we now start to burn out the energy in those neurons, and they get so fatigued that they eventually give up, and the fascia will then expand just slightly. Okay. And then as the fascia expands, we start to create space not only where that area is experiencing pain, but the rest of the system in that area now gets a little bit of slack in it. Okay. And then that's how, when we keep on working in this area, in these problematic areas, that's how we get the fascia to expand, relax, and then the pain and this troubling pattern starts to go away. So 3 to 4 minutes working with that guy. Now you have one of two options after that. Now I'm going to take the big hook with this nasty little spear right here. I'm going to put the little hook underneath my left leg, and then I'm going to reach this guy all the way back around in my rhomboid area, which is between my spine and my shoulder blade. And I'm going to walk it up and down, okay, where I'm leaning back into that hook, and I'm tenderizing that entire area of fascia and musculature. The closer you get to your shoulder blade, the more nasty it's going to be. Okay. And really, like I said, this is seek and destroy, my friend. We are looking to get into anything that's tight, tender, or sore, anything that's not happy, anything that, like, you hit it and you're just like, whoa, what's that? And the reason why I do it this way is because you can see, like, all I'm doing is just I'm hanging on to and placing the back buddy where I want it to go. The last thing that anybody wants to do when you're having upper body pain is to be yanking on something and fatiguing your arms out or creating more pain. So you'll see a lot of people take this and they'll be doing stuff like this, but I'm working on my upper body and using upper body energy at the same time. When you hook this under your leg and you start using it, that's not going anywhere, and you're not using any physical energy in the area that you're working on. Okay. That's why I like it. And it's just like, when you're using a lacrosse ball, you're using your body's weight in order to get pressure in that area and get it to release. So it's the same thing. You're not using any physical energy in order to do it. So it's the same thing with this guy, and that's the way that we want to work with it. Now that we're done with that, what we're going to be doing is taking the lacrosse ball on the ground, and when we can work in two different areas at the same time. So we're going to again get it in between that shoulder blade. Okay, my hips are raised, so I'm really
Right.
driving this cross ball into that shoulder blade, or into the rhomboid. but then also we can find something like right there on me. It's a little bit tight. I can feel like a little bit of thickness in the tissue. And then now from there, I start moving the arm around. Just normal things that I do every day, raising it up and down, side to side. Okay. And I'm breathing the entire time I'm doing that. I can then also move onto my shoulder blade, which is your infraspinatus rotator cuff muscle. All right. Find out if there's anything tight, tender, or sore on there. And you see how I'm moving my arm all different directions. I'm pinning it down, I'm finding an area that's sore. I'm pinning it down. And then I'm stirring the pot. I am just tearing that tissue apart. Okay. And we can work all the way to the shoulder, like we saw on that anatomy trains um picture that I
Yeah.
showed you, the graphic that I showed you. All right. And you want to take, gosh, I would probably say between 4 to 8 minutes doing uh both of those areas. Okay. And then because the traps are going to attach a little bit lower in the thoracic area of the spine, we can also get it on there so we can get a complete release. We don't want to leave anything to chance. We don't want to skip areas. And
Yeah.
then the other really nasty parts in that teres minor major, which is probably what's controlling some of the problems that you have in your tricep. All right. That is tucked in on the outside portion of your shoulder blade, right where it is attaching to the arm. Okay. Right where your armpit is kind of attaching to the arm. So I'll show you the teres minor and major on the screen, but it's right in there.
Yeah.
And when those guys get tight, what they do is they create an overlap with the tricep tendon coming right down in between it. So those guys get tight, and what ends up happening is that tricep tendon will report back to the brain that it's shorter than it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so it gets short up, everything gets pulled and tightened, and now you have a problem with that tricep. All right. So I'm going to find a real quick picture of the teres minor major for you. Whoops, don't do that. There she is. That's the one I'm looking for. Okay. 13 best teres minor and major exercises. Can you see this guy right here, the
Yeah.
teres minor? Okay, just like I said, scissor action. You have the minor coming from the shoulder. So this is your infraspinatus, very, very painful. Okay, very painful. If it is tight, tender, and it's got a problem, very, very tender, very, very painful. But you see how this guy swings around, attaching to the humerus. So this helps with a lot of external rotation. Now we have the teres minor going from the shoulder blade up to the humerus. And then you see how this guy right here, the teres major, goes under it. And here we have the tricep tendon, the long head, all right, that is going underneath the teres minor on top of the teres major, attaching to the shoulder blade. All right. And then we have the medial or the short, I think the medial head, short head. I could be wrong. My anatomy is terrible. in all honesty. And we have this tricep tendon. So this guy could almost maybe fascially be corrupting this part of the tricep too. Okay. So this is where you are going to get the lacrosse ball like right up into there. And I gotta warn you, Alex, it's like someone dragging their nails on a chalkboard. Sometimes those guys are so tight and so snappy. You get the lacrosse ball on there and it hurts so bad. It feel like your teeth hurt. Okay. But if you move even like 1 nanometer, it just kicks you right out.
Yeah,
And you'll just, the lacrosse ball will just snap right over it. And you're like, okay, then you're sitting there like trying to get back on it, and it just won't. They get so tight, they get so calcified and so angry. And this is how it affects that tricep, which we're going to go after next, and I'll show you. So I like to start off with the banger and then go down to something smaller. There's two different ways that we can do this. I like doing it on the ground because once again, I don't have to use any energy. All right. And really, it's as simple as just turning your arm out. You are going to find anything that's rigid, anything that's tight, tender, sore, again, on the outside portion of the tricep. So I'm laying the ball like right here. I have my bicep right here. This is going to be just a little bit of fluid and bone, okay, and fascia. And then I'm getting in like right on the outside edge of this tricep with that. And you are going to find something that I can guarantee you it's going to travel all the way down into your forearm. And if it's bad enough, it's going to go all the way down into your thumb, and it's going to feel like your thumb is going to pop off of your hand. Okay. So we want to start off with that guy, and we're just sitting there breathing and relaxing. We can do short strokes side to side like this. And really, all we're trying to do is just melt that adhesion. And what we've done, in a sense, is really just, trapped nerve that's going all the way down to the hand in between the bone and some very powerful tissue, because the triceps can get to be very powerful. But like I said, you can expect to feel it in your forearm and you can expect to feel it in your hand going all the way down into your thumb as well. And then the other way that you can do that is just up against the wall. So if I was standing and I had a wall over here, I put it right up against my arm, up against the wall, and then I'm rolling up and down like that. The next thing that we would do, same thing with the lacrosse ball. We're gonna go up against the wall. Let me see. I can go over there. We're gonna put it up against the wall right here. I usually grab my hand or my wrist, and now I'm working on those extensors. Okay. And I'm just rolling back and forth, finding anything that's tight, tender, or sore. Open and close the hand at times in order to pull that fascia out. We're pinning that sucker down, right? And as I pin that guy down, I'm effectively shortening the muscle. The muscle goes from being completely relaxed, okay, to now it's like this. The fascia, the nerve, the brain, everything says, we just got tight. Go ahead and release. When we start using the muscle now and the fascia, I'm opening my hand, I'm opening and closing my hand, and you're pinning that sucker down. Now we've effectively created like a shearing atmosphere. Okay. And then that movement combined with you continuously rolling for at least 2 minutes, we're going to release hyaluronic acid the tissue is going to release hyaluronic acid, and that's what starts to melt the adhesion and help the tissue return back to normal. Okay, so that's very, very important right there. The last piece, because drumming involves going up and down with the arm, is going to be something like the so right with our bicep right
All
here.
right.
So
Okay.
what I like to do, you can also do it with a lacrosse ball, okay, as well. What I like to do is I like to put the so right either on the ground and you can use it, or I'll put it right at the edge of a counter and I'll sit right there on the counter, and then I'll just drape my arm up and over like that. And I'll just go all the way up and then all the way down, looking for anything that's tight, tender, or sore. The way that we do this on the ground is the same thing. We're laying right here. It doesn't get as deep as if we were up on the countertop, okay? But I mean, even something like right there, I did a bunch of rowing this morning, so clearly my arms are a little bit fatigued or whatever you want to call it. But that feels great right there, like getting into the bicep. And that stuff will also create problems for you all the way down into the thumb. All
Right.
right. So that's your protocol right there. We're starting off with the back buddy, going into the trap and the neck first. And then we're using the ball or the back buddy as well to work in between the shoulder blade, that rhomboid. Also going down a little bit lower into that trap area that we saw. And then you're going to get onto the infraspinatus with the ball, teres minor and major with the
Yeah.
ball. Then we want to work into you could, and I skip this because I have never found it to be to really help at all. But you could also just lacrosse ball up against the wall into the deltoid. I've been doing this. I've been doing this stuff for 20 years, Alex. And when I tell you the amount of people that have come to me with shoulder pain, arm pain, wrist pain, you name it, rotator cuffs, whatever, anything to do with the shoulder, Alex, I have never, except with the only exception is my UFC fighters that I would work on. I have never worked in the deltoid ever to eradicate any type of shoulder pain. Never.
Good.
And the only reason why I do it with my fighters is preventative. And really what I would do is just get their on laying face down on my table and their arm is up here. And I would get my DMS, which is what I call my bunker buster. And I would just tenderize that deltoid. And what that's doing really is just clearing a lot of the byproducts of muscle energy production out of the shoulder. But for them, I mean, they're here all day, every day,
Mm.
just doing this stuff. So the shoulders just get extremely taxed. And that's why I do it more as a clearing mechanism than to really be getting any type of pain out of the shoulder, because 10 times out of 10 you have pain in the shoulder, you have 5 to 7 of these muscles. There's 15 muscles that cross over the shoulder joint to keep it in place. 5 to 7 of them are probably lit when we have shoulder pain. But
Right.
everybody said my shoulder hurts. I never work in the shoulder, and I have basically a 100% cure rate of all shoulder pain, all different types of shoulder pain. I'll get into the scalenes. We'll look into the pec, rotator cuff, everything in the back area there, subscap, lat, all that stuff. Pain, shoulder pain goes away. Didn't even touch the shoulder. People are like, "What the hell?" But
Yeah.
this is how the body works.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what. Oh, okay.
Cracking.
Do you have any other questions for me?
To be honest, no, I don't. It's just,
Good.
it's a pretty binary issue, really. Have pain, want rid of pain. And certainly what you just suggested there. I mean, it's only really having that conversation with you and reading your back pain Bible book that's completely changed my thought process when it comes to physical injuries. It's completely, it has really radically altered my understanding. Um, and,
Love it.
and I find it really odd that it's taken this conversation for me to connect that I've got this issue in the back of my shoulder. I've also got tennis elbow in this hand, and I've got this thumb injury, and they're all on the same pathway, and not at any stage thinking that those things might be connected because they all occurred at different times. I just
Sure.
took them as being independent injuries that just happened to be on the same side. But of course, there is a pretty strong chance that they are all connected in some way. So, yeah, I'll be looking forward to. Well, I say I won't be looking forward to it. There's nothing fun about rubbing a lacrosse ball into your bits, is there? But yeah, I'll be looking forward to the results, if not the work.
Yeah, but at the same time, nobody wants to go through the surgical process, right? Nobody wants to do that. It's for the most part, unless if you have something sticking out of your body, it's the last resort for everybody, right? So, would we rather entertain sticking a lacrosse ball into our bits or a knife made of surgical steel, right?
Yeah,
Like, would
right,
you want to put out? And I'll tell you a quick story. um, Typically when people come to me and they're like, "Oh, I don't know if I tore something. Do you think I should get surgery?" I say, number one, nobody ever thinks they tore something, because when you tear something, something in your body just doesn't work right ever again. It will never work right. If it's working right, but you have pain, you didn't tear something. And I mean, I've had people come in where their pain has gone from a 10, to a new feeling of 10 seemingly every week. They're like,
right,
"I thought last week was a 10, but now this week is a 10." Right? And I get them down to a 0 where they're just happy and healthy. But I had a young girl who was studying to be a physician assistant, and she had to sit in on a surgery. It was an elective surgery. A young girl, I think somewhere around 11, 12 years old. And when she sat in on the surgery, there was a point where the anesthesiologist said, "Oh, breathing rate is getting higher, blood pressure is increasing. She's feeling the pain. I need to increase my anesthetic." And she was totally taken by surprise. And she's like, "I don't understand how the girl was still out. She was still sleeping. How is she feeling pain?"
mm,
And I just looked and I was like, "My dear, I love your naivety, but let's think about this for a second." And this is why when people talk to me about elective surgeries or this and that, I say the only way you should get an elective surgery if you are just going to numb it up and stay awake for the entire thing. If you can do that, go ahead and get it. And people are like, "Oh, no, hell no, you're crazy. I would never do that." Then you can't get it. Why? Because even when you're asleep, your brain, your fascia, your central nervous system, your muscle, your capillaries, your cells, everything is registering everything.
mm,
And then you wake up and your body was like, "What the F was that?"
mm,
They've done studies where they've taken people extremely tight, their musculature, their fascia, everything extra, like uncommonly tight. They put them under anesthetic. They put them to sleep. They do rigorous stretching routines. This person, who couldn't even bring their leg up like this, they're getting the knee all the way down to the face. The fascia is supple. They're all open. They come to, they stand up. The tightness comes right back. Nothing was registered
mm,
by the brain, by the fascia, nothing like that. Okay. So it's the complete opposite when we start to cut. That you cannot increase the length of fascia being unconscious, and you cannot not register the invasiveness of a surgery while you're sleeping. It's the same thing too, where people think um, that alcohol it helps them sleep. Oh, I have a glass of wine before going to bed because it helps me sleep. No, you anesthetized yourself. That's what you've done. And people with whoops and other biotech and everything like that, they will look at their sleep scores the next day and it's like 42%. And they're like, but I slept so good. You didn't sleep. You were inebriated. You were anesthetized. Okay. And everything, the chaos that the alcohol brings to your heart, they look at their heart rate variability was terrible. They had no deep sleep, et cetera, et cetera, but they feel like they slept so well. It's a cover up. That's all this stuff is a cover up. So
Yeah.
that's the way that we need to always view the body. The greatest title in the history of titles, the body keeps the score. That's
True.
what it does. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
if you're sleeping. It doesn't matter if you've been anesthetized. The body keeps the score. And we always need to keep that at the forefront of our mind. And the fact that everything's connected, but it can also be separated and connected.
Yeah.
So I leave you with that, sir.
Well, thank you ever so much for your time. It's been really helpful.
Thank you for listening. I appreciate you being here, man. And if you need anything else, just reach out to me, okay?
Yeah, will do. I'll let you skedaddle and get on with the rest of your day.
Thank you. Be well. Have a good
Thank you very
night.
much. Take care.